When I saw this shot, I was cheesing like a schoolgirl.
Got my pants falling, these racks in my bridges. Got my pants falling, these racks in my bridges. Got my pants falling, these racks in my bridges. They got my pants falling.
So the season starts and we find out that Mark has been on a training arc. But as we come to find out later in the season, this training arc wasn't on shit because it still gets wiped in every single episode. Out there doing white women's exercises, I'm crying. We fast forward into the episode and Mark and Rex are finding these two twins. It turns out these two dudes are from the future, but we'll learn about them a couple episodes later, so I'm not gonna go too in depth. While they're trying to fight the twins, Multi-Paul, who is the twin of Kate, pulls up and starts jumping Rex and Invincible. Paul gets the upper hand on Mark and Rex, begins jumping them, but once Mark sees that Rex is about to die, he locks in and destroys every single Multi-Paul clone. He started running through them clones like prime Marshawn Lynch, no regard for who he killed. Eventually, Duplicate pulls up and takes Multi-Paul to prison. See, Duplicate technically died in the last season, so nobody knows that she's alive. And it turns out that the Immortal and Kate got married. I just want to talk about this real quick because the Immortal is thousands of years old and he's married to a teenager. Anyway, Ray comes back to the Guardians of the Globe too, and she's important because the bag work that Rex puts on her, generational. We cut back to the GDA and Cecil and I forgot the other dude's name, Donald. Cecil and Donald find out that there have been a bunch of weird stuff happening all around the United States. We then learn that this is Doc Seisman's fault, that he's been controlling like a bunch of bugs through the ground. But before we get into that, we cut back to Mark and he finally locks in and bags Eve. Not even 5 minutes after Mark has Eve on his shoulder, he fumbles. He starts running his big ass mouth about how Eve from the future came and told Mark to confess, and rightfully so. Eve is pissed off and blows the nigga off. Not only can Mark not execute on the battlefield, the nigga can't even bag a bad bitch properly. He had the ball in the rim and blocked his own shot. Anyway, it turns out that Dr. Seismic has kidnapped most of the villains on America and Mark and Eve pull up to try to save the day. This nigga, a Viltrumite from another planet, loses to Earth bugs. How are you the strongest race in the entire universe and you can't even beat Heracross? Mark gets folded and a real goat has to save the day.
I got that 40 like what? Yeah, I don't need no of these niggas, mess on my face like I rock. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Show him how it's done, Darkwing. He pulls up with the reanimate and they start cooking the bugs, doing Mark's job 1,000 times better than he ever could. Mark is pissed though because he got shown out in front of his girl, and so he pulls up on the GDA asking why Darkwing and the reanimate are freed. Cecil tries to explain his viewpoint and calm Mark down, but Mark is not trying to hear any of that, and so they go into the White Room, and just about when Mark is getting fed up, Cecil pulls out the reanimate in the White Room. Episode 1 ends with a post-credit scene of Omni-Man and Alan talking about what they want to do and how Omni-Man doesn't want to escape the prison, but Alan wants to break him out. Episode 2 starts with a flashback of Cecil, and I really like the opening to this episode because it shows Cecil's goals and motivations. We get a glimpse of this why Cecil became the man that he was, and I really appreciate the character building that's done in this episode. But Cecil pulls up to this diner because he got a tip that there was a bomb in the back. Turns out his tip was right, and right when he's about to disarm the bomb, Knucklebuster, yes, that's her name, pulls up and stops him. And I gotta take a quick break from the video because I saw this and I fell in love. If Cecil had me out there, I would have solved that fight without any casualties. Hey, this isn't you. I know you want to save the world, but this isn't the way to do it. You can't kill all these people. It's not right. Join the good guys and make things right. Do it for me, fine shit. But we cut back to the episode, and unfortunately, my dog Cecil starts getting cooked. Knucklebuster comes in with a right hook, but Cecil dodges. He then tries to throw a punch. Cecil counters with a punch. This nigga really set these hands ready to eat for everyone. She tries to hit Cecil with a barrage of punches, but he blocks all of these and tries to punch back, but she dodges this too. She then kicks the nigga all the way back into the wall. I want y'all to look how far he was from the wall and where he ended up. Mind you, Cecil had nothing but airtime the entire time he got kicked into the wall. Cecil pulls out the blick, but she is not impressed. She throws a kick, but Cecil blocks that and tries to hit a punch but misses. He then hits the nigga in his leg and sweeps him off his feet. Cecil raises the blick, but she speed blitzes this nigga and hits him so hard that blood comes out of his mouth. then punches Cecil against the wall and knees him in his gut. I know that shit hurt. After she knees him, she kicks him across the room. Got my boy leaning, begging for some help. Please! Cecil tries to throw a punch, but she grabs that shit and breaks the nigga's hand. Yeah, gang, I'm not gonna lie. After this, you gotta retire, bro. Throw these weak ass punches, but she just dodges. She then grabs Cecil and then kicks him against the wall. But she was caught off guard trying to get her villain speech, and Cecil catches her off guard with the gun and shocks her ass. My boy Cecil thought he was in the clear, but unfortunately, these niggas move like Team Rocket, and when there's trouble, make it double. Cause not only does he have to deal with one superpowered girl, he has to deal with another. My boy is just trying to defuse the bomb and he gets thrown across the room again. He beats on Cecil, but that nigga called 12, and once they heard them pull up, they did the bitch ass move and bombed the entire area. I don't even think I can show what happens, but just know that when they release this like poison bomb, all of their skin burns off. Cecil traps them in the room, but this nigga's skin's also burned off too, and that's where we get like the infamous Cecil scar from. It's actually a really good character moment because even though Cecil can get the scar that was burned off replaced, he keeps it on his face to remind him of all the people that were lost on that day. Cut back to Mark. He starts crashing out and breaking all of the reaniman. He gets too confident though, and so Cecil pulls out all of the reaniman they have inside. And for once, I'll give Mark a break because Cecil low-key has hacks. He used a frequency that's weak for Viltrumites to weaken Mark. Cecil starts using his hacks and Mark flies away to the Guardians of the Globe. They see my boy Mark getting jumped and they don't stand for this. And my goat Rex locks in and turns on Cecil. The fact that Rex went from this cheating dickhead to a GOAT in just 2 seasons is just so incredible. Unfortunately, the writers of Invincible knew what they were doing because my GOAT doesn't get the best ending in this season, but we'll get to that later. The Guardians of the Globe start locking in and retaliating, and Rex blows up Cecil's button, but this turns out to kind of like be a detriment because they can't turn the button off. The robot comes in for the clutch, and then, you know, he like blocks the frequency and shit like that. Cecil starts talking his shit, but Mark's not going for that at all, so he grabs the nigga by his throat and says, "Ever come near my family again, I will kill you." Okay, we probably get some aura, okay? I'm gonna fast forward the rest of the episode though. Basically, all of like the young people leave the Guardians of the Globe besides like Duplicate. I just want to comment on something real quick. If the Guardians of the Globe weren't sorry then, they sure as shit are sorry now, because look at this sorry ass fucking lineup. Please, I need help. I need a hero. Don't worry, bro. The Guardians of the Globe are on their way. Like, nigga, come on! Anyway, we get some stuff with Debbie and her new man, Paul. We get some, like, Mark and Eve stuff. At the end of the episode, Mark apologizes and Eve takes him back. Episode 3 starts with this nice character moment of, like, these 2 random villains, and we get, like a showing of, like, what's going on in their life. I like how it shows Debbie's point of how everybody's life is important and you don't know what's going on in somebody's life. It builds on just because you don't know the person, it doesn't mean that they should die, and it's nice, I like it. Anyway, this nice moment is interrupted by Oliver being a fucking menace.
Damn, Draco, you made this?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is only the first of many sequences of Oliver being a badass kid. Later in the episode, the Guardians of the Globe relocate into like the old T-Team's base, and my goat Rex starts spending more game at Ray. Anyway, the next scene we get Mr. Lou, who's the leader of the Order, complaining to Titan because his like best assassin, Multipaw, is still locked up. Later in the episode, Oliver and Mark get a new suit, and Oliver's trying to be called Kid Omni-Man, but Mark's like, can't do that, twin. Calling yourself Kid Omni-Man is like calling yourself Kid Hitler, bro. We can't let that shit slide, twin. We flash forward, and these 2 bums are trying to break Multipaw out of prison, and Mark tries to tell Oliver just to watch, but being the badass kid he does, he steps in and gets hurt. This nigga don't fucking listen, bro. This shit be pissing me off. This nigga needs a black mom, because if Oliver's mom was black, not even the power of being a Viltrumite could save that nigga from the belt. Later in the episode, the Muller twins pull up and try to like go into this nuke base to like put a thermal nuke on the planet because the niggas will have to buy like Wi-Fi from them or some shit. I don't know. The twins cook the Fraudians of the Globe, and like I said earlier, this fucking group is sorry as shit, bro. I want to use this to segue. The heroes in this verse are sorry as fuck. It's not even the Guardians of the Globe, nigga. Everybody on planet Earth except for Tech Jacket, Invincible, and Oliver are trash. I may be missing a few others, but you get the point, bro. If I was a civilian in this verse and the world was getting like invaded or some shit, bro, I have to pray to God, because these niggas aren't saving shit. If Omni-Man and Invincible did not exist on this planet, the shit would get overrun by villains in like 2 fucking weeks, bro. We cut back and the Mauler twins launch the rocket for the EMP. Mark flies up to try to stop the rocket, and while he's doing that, we get the true version of Oliver. Oliver starts fucking destroying the Mauler twins, bro. I was watching this and my jaw was to the floor. The nigga's 8 years old, and that's in human years. In Thraxian years, he's like, shit, 2 months. He punches one Mauler twin so hard that he breaks his jaw. He sees the other twin and flies through the nigga like Kid Goku. He then walks down the other Mauler twin and punches the nigga so hard, his head explodes. And then the nigga lies and said he didn't mean to kill him. Nigga, we see you! Mark sees Cecil next to Oliver and crashes out and grabs the nigga by his throat again. And by the way, while Mark is choke holding Cecil, the mortal does nothing. Anyway, later in the episode, Debbie convinces Oliver to not be a fucking menace to society. While that was going on, Ancient Livy was spying on the Invincible family, and Mark finds the drone, but it explodes before he can like track it or some shit like that. The post-credit scene is Ancient Livy sitting in his little like dome area or farming. Episode 4 starts with Rex and Ray going shopping, and Rex just continues to get in his bag. Jokes aside though, the next segment we get is some of the best shit in the entire series. We cut to the prison that Alan and Omni-Man are held for, and after waiting like 2 seasons, the Viltrumites finally pull up to execute Omni-Man. Alan's not going for this though, and he stages a coup to try to free Nolan. In his montage of freeing prisoners, Adam comes across the GOAT. He opens up one of the prison cells and sees the one and only glorious King Battle Beast. I mess with Battle Beast's character so heavy. I just love characters that live and breathe nothing but smoke. Grimjow, Sukuna, Kenpachi. All of them are such fire characters. And you want to know why? They live and breathe for the Fade. Bloodthirsty smoke demons are some of my favorite characters in all of fiction, and Battle Beast is no exception. Alan and Battle Beast start going crazy, and they start running through the prison guards how I want. Janice Hart, Miss B Nasty, and Prime Ice Spicer want to train on me. No, I will not be elaborating. This nigga Battle Beast really ain't got no patience though. He started firing for 5 minutes and ain't seen no Viltrumite and started tweaking on my nigga Alan. Alan finds out where no one's getting held though, and they break through, and we get this cold ass Battle Beast line.
I'll kill you for that. Is that a promise?
Nah. Even if I was a Viltrumite and I heard this, I'm going home, nigga. Alan and Battle Beast each take one of the Viltrumites, and I'm not gonna lie, my nigga Alan starts getting cooked. Like a real nigga, Omni-Man sees his brother getting cooked and steps in. And get this funny scene with Alan and Omni-Man.
Did you get a haircut? You trim your mustache? Did you style your mustache? Get up!
Afterwards, these niggas get to cooking. Omni-Man and the Viltrumite charge at each other, and they try to throw punches, but they both miss. Matter of fact, the first like 5 hits that are thrown in this fight, none of them connect. The only one that hits is a kick, but Omni-Man blocks it. Eventually though, Omni-Man gets a hit in, and they both clash at each other and hit each other in the face. Niggas think that Goku and Vegeta or some shit. Viltrumite overpowers Omni-Man though and throws him into a wall. Alan tags in though and throws a mean ass uppercut. Alan takes the fight outside and starts getting cooked by Viltrumite. Omni-Man steps in and grapples him. This leads to Alan hitting a mean combo on the Viltrumite, but the nigga somehow escapes the grapple and kicks Alan away and hits Omni-Man? Nigga, it's a 1v2. This nigga's not Raditz. Lock in. He tries to attack Adam, but then they hit this mean ass double punch and destroy this nigga's entire face. I'm not even sure if I can show this shit. Just like that, the Viltrumite is dead. But if you notice, Battle Beast has kind of been missing from this fight, and the camera turns and it finds out that Battle Beast has been boxing with this Viltrumite in space for like 5 minutes straight, bro. And keep in mind, Battle Beast can't fly. God, my coat is so cold. The next episode is episode 5, and people like to rag on this episode, but I like it because it kind of builds on the Invincible world. We get nice character moments with Titan, Invincible, and all that, but I'm gonna speed through it because I'm trying to get to that Invincible war, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Basically, all that happens in this episode is that Multi-Paul tries to break out, and the nigga, the tactic he uses is like so fucking insane, especially when you realize he feels the pain of each and every clone. So he's feeling this shit like right now, bro. Oliver snitches on his brother for having a bad bitch in his room, you know, like a punk ass nigga. Mark gives Eve a supermax at the prison. Rex rises up Ray. I'm just going down the list, my nigga. The Order threatens and tries to kill Cyan for not breaking out Multi-Paul. Mark gets cooked by Jake the Dragon. Paul breaks out, Lou is killed but comes back to life in post-credit scene, and Metalhead becomes leader of the Order. Alright, on to episode 6. I'm not going to spend too long on this episode either. Not a lot happens, so I'm just going to run through it real quick. Episode 6 starts with like this nice family moment, and it shows a flashback to Mark and Omni-Man's fight in Chicago. I like this episode because it shows the people who Mark and Omni-Man's clash affected, and I like Powerplex's character, you know, at first, but the shit he does later this episode, nigga, we'll get to it eventually. Powerplex wants Mark arrested because he thinks that he had something to do with the Chicago battle, like actually conspiring with Omni-Man, but nobody's trying to hear this nigga out. He tries to get Mark's attention to box the nigga, but it doesn't work. He actually tries twice. It doesn't work either time. Robot raises up Monster Girl in this episode by fixing her like power that makes her younger because he makes her a belt. And father like son, my nigga Rex rises up Ray. The main thing I want to touch on this episode though is the final fight, or it's not even a fight, but you know, between Powerplex and Mark. Powerplex wants revenge for his sister and his niece, and to do this he tries to box Invincible, and so he gets his wife and child to act as decoys. The only thing is that when he's boxing Invincible, he gets an overload in power. And this overload in power causes his like energy to shoot erratically. This nigga kills his wife and his child. Not only that, he has the audacity to blame it on Invincible. Nigga, it was you! We have the cameras. We see you in 4K, buddy. That was you. Yes, you. The one watching the... Yes, that was you. Anyway, let's get into the real meat and potatoes of this episode. In the post-credit scene, we see Angstrom Levy, and he pulls up with all of the variant Invincibles. And that means that next episode is the Invincible War. This is one of my favorite arcs in all of Invincible, because just seeing all of the different marks wreak havoc on Earth is just one of the best things ever. I'm gonna save my glaze for next episode though, but just know that this shit right here is cold. And when I saw this shot, I was cheesing like a schoolgirl.
Got my opinions falling, D-Rex in my bridges, got my opinions falling, D-Rex in my bridges, got my opinions falling, D-Rex in my bridges, got my opinions falling.
The episode starts and we see all of the Invincibles fly out from their portals. And I need to take a quick moment because the comics do it better. Let me talk for like 1 second, bro, please. A lot of people complain about the show's animation, and I do think a lot of these complaints are valid. The show simply does not compare to the masterful art made by Ryan Oatley in the comics. Once Cory Walker's bitch ass, sorry ass art is replaced, the panels just ooze with so much flavor and just fucking intensity. If you haven't read the Invincible comics, please go read them, because they just simply cannot be adapted correctly into the show. They're just too good. This panel and then this scene in the show is just the definition of Riz versus sexual harassment. If you thought that was all, the comic has better bitches, better fights, better character designs, better everything, my nigga. I'm done yapping though. Go read the comics. The art is fire. The show will never capture the intensity and the rawness and the flavorfulness of the comic. Yeah, let's carry on. Back to the episode, and we just get this cold ass house drop. Once I heard this, I knew this episode was gonna be fire. Mark is chilling in bed with his shorty, and he gets the call that he is needed. And this Earth gonna need them, because what these variant Invincibles do to the world, it's insane. We start with Mohawk Mark, my favorite of the Mark variants, and he's just destroying the prison. We cut to another Mark, and
I wouldn't even keep you as a slave in my empire.
yeah, we gotta get this nigga out of here. Prisoner Mark is just fucking destroying Russia, and if you're in this universe, what can you do? Because the heroes are all sorry as fucking nobody's coming to save you. We see my GOAT, Tech Jacket, who is very important in the comics later, but I won't get into that. We cut back to Ray and Rex, and
Check this shit out.
Man, this nigga ain't never done this shit in his life. Mark pulls up on Mohawk Mark, and I just want to take this second to just talk about the voice acting performance of Steven Yeun. The range that he has with Mark is like so crazy. I love how you can differentiate which Mark is which just by the voice performance.
That would be telling. I heard you the first time, dipshit. Yeah!
He does such a great job of showing the craziness and the evilness in all the Invincibles, and I feel like it's best prevalent in Mohawk Mark. They begin throwing hands though, and Mark throws Mohawk Mark through the building. We immediately get to see how much of a menace these evil Marks are, because the first punch this nigga throws is an arm Mark's nuts. He then uppercuts Mark, slams him on the ground, grabs him by his leg, and throws him. He flies in the sky, and they exchange blows, and then they crash back into the ground. They begin clashing like this is Injustice game, and Mark tries to get something out of evil Mark, but that nigga's not peeping. He then headbutts our Mark and begins choking the nigga on the ground. Mark locks in though and hits that nigga with 2 fists and knocks him out. Powerplex gets out of his cell and he sees 2 Invincibles, and I swear the nigga almost had a heart attack then and there. We cut to Cecil at the GDA, and these boys got absolutely fucking cooked. Just look at Donald. The nigga is missing his skin. We fast forward and Mark and Eve are going through New York trying to save people. Evil Mark is able to break up the group, but Mark comes in and intervenes, and then we get this line.
How about now?
Mark and Eve start jumping the evil Mark, and I had to pause the episode because this shit brought tears to my eye. For once, the animation is good. Another evil Mark pulls up and we get this funny line.
Fuck off! I got this. Swearing doesn't make you cool.
Mark tells Eve to dip, and she says she's not going, and then she immediately gets speed blitzed. Mark sees his girl getting cooked, and he flies in and tries to save her, but then the other evil Mark comes and slams him down. They start jumping Mark, but then Eve is able to push them away with a wall. Mark is literally begging Eve to leave, and she doesn't want to go, and it's like, nigga, you can't do shit. This is not your special. You're finna get cooked. The other Marks burst out of the building though, and they get to cooking our Mark. I'm talking, they got this effort do a combo, and as soon as they're done with the combo, the evil Mark goes and tries to kill Eve. I'm like, when did y'all niggas practice this? Ooh, like the anime characters that already know the other dude's move. Eve gets blitzed again, and I saw this shit and I had to turn on my computer, bro, because nigga, he told you twice to leave, and then this is what happens when you don't. Evil Mark goes in for the kill, but then good Mark's able to stop him just in the right time. Rihanna men come down, and this nigga's real fucking quiet now that Eve is saved. He had all that shit to say in episode 1, but the second it's him and his biz, the nigga's real quiet. We then get this cold scene with Donald and Cecil, and I really like Donald's progression throughout the story of how he had to come to gripes that he was a robot, and now he's willing to throw his life away because he knows he'll come back. That's just such fire writing. We cut to the Guardians of the Globe HQ, and these niggas just got fucking cooked, bro. The Mortals start sparring with another evil Invincible, and this nigga's getting cooked. Darkwing and the Mortals start jumping evil Mark, and must have been the wind. Immortal, like always, fucking dies, and Darkwing, being the go he is, ends up trapping the evil Invincible in like the dark dimension that he uses. We fast forward, and one of the Marks is trying to go into the house that they live in and kill their own mother. Nigga, what were they feeding these Marks? Another evil Invincible pulls up on the Guardians of the Globe, and he starts cooking these niggas. Rex comes in to save the day and tells the team that he has a plan and tells everybody to get out of there. Fortunately, he was lying, and he has no plan to beat the Invincible. The evil Invincible grabs Rex by his throat, and Rex does the only thing that he can. He puts his hand through the wound in his body, touches his bones, and blows up his skeleton. This kills evil Mark, but also kills Rex. In the comics, his death was way less bad because we didn't really care that much for Rex as a character, but because he had the progression from season 2 and season 3, we really grew to like and appreciate Rex, and it's just sad to see my nigga go. We cut to our Mark in the hospital, and while his other evil variants are destroying the world, this nigga is doing nothing. We cut to the other Marks, and they're just destroying the entire planet. We even get this cold scene where we see the fire in the Invincible's eyes, and it's like, nigga, where was this budget at before? One of the Mark dies to Powerplex, and I know this nigga was straight cheese, and he got that kill, and this nigga fell on top of the world. All of the Marks reconvene on top of Mark's house, and we get one of the craziest scenes in this entire show.
I came here to find Mom and bring her back with me.
Oh, someone misses their mommy.
yeah, bro, this nigga had to go. There was no way. Mark's getting impatient though, and they're about to kill Levy to get their side of the deal faster, but then he sends them to the barren wasteland where he sent our Mark in the second season. Comic does it better, by the way. Mark finds out where Levy is and pulls up on him, and they get to fight. Again, the animation is pretty good. You know, Mark's ducking and weaving out of these portals, dodging the metal balls. That's good. I'm okay. Eventually though, he's able to grab Levy by his throat, and the nigga wasn't finna kill him. He had to be convinced by Oliver to kill a nigga who's killed like hundreds of thousands of people. But the nigga waited too late and Levy got away. And unfortunately, that's where the Invincible War ends. But next episode's pretty good too. Because at the end of this episode, we see Mark sad. He's trying to help people out of the rubble, but a lot of them have already died. So he kind of walks away from where he was and he leans against a rock. And the person that pulls up on him is one of the oldest and strongest Viltrumites ever to live. And his name is Conquest. We get this cold line from Mark and Conquest.
Only thing I want to do right now is hit something as hard as I can.
Good.
And the boxing begins.
I can't feel shit. I've been popping pills all year. Yeah, she pop pussy like pill.
So the episode starts and we see Mark and Conquest clash. Their clash was so powerful that the shockwaves were destroying buildings. Where I saw this shit and a tear fell from my eye. I knew this fight was gonna be fucking peak. They start holding hands and Conquest hits Mark with a mean headbutt. He then throws Mark to the ground and gives one of the craziest speeches I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm not gonna lie, twin. I don't give a fuck about the Viltrumite Empire. I just love to throw hands. I'm here for smoke and smoke only, my nigga. Niggas think I'm fighting to save the day, but really, nigga, I just like to fight.
I heard this shit and I was spoofed. They gotta get this nigga out of here. He's a menace. Conquest tries to put his hand on Mark, but Mark's not going for that and he punches that nigga all the way to a building. Afterward, Mark grabs Conquest and flies him through even more buildings. I was a citizen in this world. Nigga, I'm pissed. My home is destroyed. For as much as niggas like to rag on the Avengers, the Invincible Universe isn't much better. Conquest emerges from the rubble and grabs Mark by his arm and literally says, I want more. Mark breaks away and kicks Conquest back. He then lays into Conquest even more and we get this beautiful sequence where he punches him all the way up into space. But Conquest gets a little freaky in space because this nigga makes a heart out of his own blood. Even my nigga Mark is shocked. But I need to talk about something real quick because look at Conquest's face. If I saw this, nigga, I'm skedaddling. Earth is gone. GG's, I'm out of there. Conquest grabs Mark and they begin tussling in the air. Mark starts talking shit, so Conquest locks in and throws one punch, and I swear to God he's done more damage than Mark has done in the entire fight so far. Look how much blood Mark is coughing up from one punch. Mark is trying to recover, but Conquest is giving this man absolutely no time because he sees the vibrations in his blood. Oh my god, this scene is just so cold. Conquest slams down on Mark and destroys the entire city. Oliver tries to come in and help Mark. They're just too fast for this little nigga. Mark gets thrown through even more buildings and then a truck explodes on him. But then we get this like fierily animated scene where Mark's hair is flowing and bro, another tear fell from my eye because I just knew the animators were finally about to lock in after a full season of mid. Then we get one of the funniest scenes in the entire show. Conquest is barreling towards Mark and he pulls out his hand and tells him to stop. Nigga, how do you go from saying that you need to hit something hard to begging, literally being on your knees and begging your opponent to stop beating your ass? Conquest doesn't want to listen to Mark at all and grabs him by his throat and literally asks, are you crazy? Then we get another one of the craziest scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. Conquest wants the fade so badly, he wipes blood from Mark's face and is like, yo, twin, lock in, please, you can do this, you can fight me, please just give me a good fade. Imagine being so thirsty to fight, you are actively encouraging your opponent to get up and throw hands. Oliver comes in and is able to punch Conquest off of Mark. Oh, nah. He's like 3 months old. Show him mercy, please. Mark sees his brother in trouble and punches Conquest off of him. He tries to tell Oliver to get out of there, but while Mark's distracted, Conquest runs up to the nigga and pulls him off and just flies him away. He starts throwing Mark through even more of New York or whatever city they're in. I just gotta feel bad for the dude at this point. Mark finally gathers the strength to headbutt Conquest off of him, and this nigga just wants more. Like, I don't know, this nigga's a menace. Mark begins to absolutely beat on Conquest. Left, right, just in barrage of punches. But unfortunately, that shit was sweet because Conquest tanks every single one. He then grabs Mark's final punch and says,
That's all you got? Just not gonna end well for you.
Oliver is able to kick Conquest off of Mark again, but at this point, Conquest is tired of Oliver's shit. Mark tells him to get out of the area and he tries to get up to defend his brother, but Conquest gets up and bitch slaps Mark into another building. Conquest hits Oliver once and has this child throwing up his own teeth. Somebody call CPS, please! He then grabs Oliver and begins tearing him in half. Before he can finish though, Mark intervenes and is able to save his brother. Conquest begins punching Mark through water, and what happens next is just plain disrespectful. Conquest uses Mark as a weapon to kill dozens of people. Now keep in mind, Mark's father did the same exact thing in season 1. So not only has Mark been forced to kill dozens of people as a weapon, but he's been forced to do it twice. Eve pulls up to this fight and throws out this whack-ass one-liner, and I heard this and I knew she was finna get cooked.
Get away from him, you animal!
Mark grabs Conquest and tries to tell Eve to leave, but Conquest breaks free of Mark's grasp and breaks his leg. Had my boy moving out there like D-Rose. Eve calls the ISO on Conquest, and I'm not gonna lie, she starts putting in a little bit of work. Eve is finally using her powers for offense. She starts making hammers, putting bubbles over Conquest's head so he can't breathe, putting like bubbles around the nigga so he can't move. I'm like, thank you, this is what we needed for the entire season. Unfortunately though, she had a Jeremy Lin type run because it did not last long. Conquest is able to break through all of her defenses, and viewer discretion is advised for what happens next. He speed blitzes Eve and punches her so hard that her jaw breaks. But if you thought he was finished, you have no idea who this man is. Cause afterwards, he uses his hand and cuts through the middle of Eve. Mark tries to save her, but it's too late and Eve dies. And with his girl dead, we get one of the coldest lines in all of Invincible.
I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow.
Mark and Conquest clash one more time, and Mark is able to break through Conquest's gauntlet, but he breaks his hand in the process. Conquest tries to jab again, but Mark catches him off guard with a punch to his face. My boy Mark starts going in with a punch and then another kick to Conquest. He tries to punch Conquest 2 more times, but he's able to dodge these punches. He grabs Mark and then begins breaking his bones. Mark does something devious to break out of this though and literally bites a chunk out of Conquest. They begin clashing in the air, and it's revealed that Eve actually survived. See, the way that her powers work is that she can edit anything that isn't like sentient matter, but once she gets close to death or she's like too stressed out, these limiters are removed. Basically, my nigga, she has hacked and she came back to life. Mark gets distracted by Eve coming back until Conquest grabs him, strikes him, and throws him to the ground. Eve throws the lob of the century though, cause when she comes back, she blasts the nigga with so much energy she had him looking like a turkey. This of course doesn't finish the job, but the nigga comes back and tries to kill Eve. Mark punches Conquest hard in the face and begins pummeling the nigga into the ground. Conquest catches Mark's fist though and breaks his wrist. Both arms broken, Conquest starts talking his shit, but he forgot about one more thing. Mark got that Rihanna forehead and begins headbutting the nigga over and over and over and over again. I can't even show what happens next because his entire face is destroyed and disfigured. And with this Conquest is finally dead. Had me praying like Vaughn was killed. Oh my god, this nigga deserved to go. To fast forward the rest of the episode, we get these cute little moments with Eve and Mark and everybody at Rex's funeral. These two aliens find Battle Beast and we get some more stuff with Angstrom Levy at the end. It turns out that Mark didn't actually kill Conquest and Cecil is keeping him alive to ask him information about the Viltrum Empire. We then get this lame ass, bitch ass, sorry ass, boring ass post credit scene with Damien Darkblood, a nigga we haven't seen since season 1 and honestly nobody fucking cares about. We should have gotten Thrag, but you know, this video is finally over. This took so much out of me, y'all. This is my first time doing a video like this ever, and holy shit, it took way longer than I thought it would. If you watched until the end, I just like to thank you. Like, subscribe, do everything so this video gets pushed out and I can make more shit like this and I'm not wasting my time doing this for no bread, no money, and no bitches. If you could tell by the video, I take huge inspiration from Zephfire. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. If you don't know who he is, you gotta go check out his content because he posts such fire videos. Overall, I really liked Invincible season 3. Not as much as season 1 though. I don't think that will ever be topped, but I still think it's better than season 2. It did a better job. The animation was overall better, and I hope they can actually upgrade the quality of the animation in season 4. Again, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I really like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, click all the nice buttons and read the comic. Also, Sakamoto Days is next.